Practicing medicine without insurance is possible. Imagine a private practice where you get to see your best patients every day, providing medical services you truly enjoy, all without the hassle of insurance. My name is Dr. T. Nguyen, and I'm a recovering specialist who was completely burned out from insurance-based medicine. I pivoted into direct care, where patients pay me directly for my medical services and have never looked back. If you're a private practice owner or planning to become one who's looking to be free of the grind of insurance and you're craving simplicity, efficiency, and connection with patients, you are in the right place. This podcast will help you map out your exit plan and uncover the mindset needed to thrive in today's economy. Welcome to the Direct Care Podcast for Specialists. Welcome back to the podcast. If you're new, hello there. I'm so glad you're here. If you are listening again, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for continuing to find this information valuable. It's the only reason I do it. I'm not getting paid to be here. So it's nice to hear that there are more doctors interested in leaving insurance, because you and I know it's causing a lot of havoc, for us, especially those in private practice. I want to help you through your journey though. In the beginning, you are going to feel a lot of doubt, a lot of fear, and maybe imposing some of your own money beliefs about how others are going to choose to spend their dollars. So you really have to work on this mind shift. You cannot believe everything you think. Your brain has a default setting. It's like the iPhone or whatever phone you have. Some things are pre-programmed in there, and if you leave it ignored, it just ends up becoming cluttered, useless information that you automatically accept to be true. And I'm talking about your thoughts now. There are thoughts in your mind that were set there, maybe from your upbringing, culturally, background, and experience, a trauma even. And some of these thoughts or ideas are not going to serve you if you don't check it. So the first step towards direct care really starts with your mindset. It's addressing those default beliefs, those limiting beliefs. Things like, I can't do this, or people won't pay for it, or what if I fail, right? These are all protective mechanisms to help you feel safe and ultimately stay average. And sometimes that average state of being is detrimental. We get used to it, we maladapt. There's a fable about a frog sitting in a pot of water who doesn't realize he's about to get cooked. The temperature slowly rises and he slowly gets adapted to that new temperature. It's a little uncomfortable, but nothing worth jumping out of the pot for, until he suddenly realizes he's getting cooked alive. The water is bubbling and boiling, and then it's too late for him to jump out. That's what's happening to us in the corporate medicine world. We experience a little discomfort, we adapt, we are asked to chart more, we are asked to code differently, we hire more staff to support us, we run double, triple booked rooms, right? We keep hiring to get help. And then we adapt to those changes because everyone else is making those recommendations. Everyone else is doing the same thing and they're able to manage. But then one day we burn out. So that model isn't necessarily for everybody. And I argue that it's really for the minority. But right now in this moment, the majority of people are accepting that corporate medicine is just how medicine is in the United States. We are slowly being tortured within the confines of corporate medicine, but it doesn't have to be this way. So how can you make this new experience a lot more promising, a lot more hopeful, a lot more breathable? Well, it really starts with knowing that happiness is an inside job. So it starts with you correcting your limiting beliefs. Like, it doesn't always have to be this way. It doesn't have to be painful. You don't have to accept that seeing 50 people a day is normal while you're getting, a couple bucks here and there, right? Or that the cost of business is rising and your reimbursement is falling. That's not really good math. How many patients do you have to see before you are no longer efficient, no longer effective in the care that you give? So we really have to stop and think about what we are accepting to believe. So it really needs to start with you not believing everything you think. And you're wondering how you do this? Well, I'm glad you asked. These are the 5 steps in stopping your default state from taking over, from being automated, so that you can self-check and take a different path, course correct. The first thing you need to do is recognize that you can change what you're choosing to believe. So if you want to believe that the cup is half empty, well, the opposite is true. The cup is also half full. But if you're an opportunist, you're going to say it's refillable, it's irrelevant. We can fix it, we can change it, we can do something different with it. So the first step is to recognize you can absolutely change the way you're experiencing your life, your business, your practice, your relationships by choosing how you want to believe about the circumstances. It's realizing there are two realities, that the cup is half empty and it's half full. But which one are you going to lean into and accept to be your truth? That's for you to decide. Number two is knowing that your brain is plastic. It can change, but it takes exercise to change that. It takes you actively stopping a thought that is not serving you and choosing a different way to think about it. It's looking on the other side, and many sides perhaps. It's not always black and white. You can choose what to believe, and you can choose how to change it and how to understand it. There's a lot of studies on neuroplasticity, which continues to prove that you can create new thought patterns or new neuronal pathways. So it's really important to start questioning some of these thoughts that you just accept to be, that are not serving you, that's holding you back, and give yourself some new thoughts, some new tools, so that you can feel a different way and start taking different action. That's what it takes to have a practice that is really minority owned, free of insurance. Number three, become really curious about why you think what you're thinking. If a negative thought comes to mind, let's just say you are thinking patients would never pay cash for medical service. Is that a fact all the time? Or can you think of examples where that's not true? You want to really think about how it makes you feel when you think this way. Does it make you shrink? Does it make you feel energetically low? Does it make you feel like you shouldn't even try because you might fail, right? What is your body doing too when you're thinking about these things that aren't necessarily true all the time? Like my eyebrows have a tendency to tell stories on its own without my mouth even moving, right? You have these micro facial expressions that if you don't record yourself, you might not even know that you're having. It's telling a story because your thoughts are creating your movements, even in the micro movements of your face. So your body reflects how you feel. All of that is connected. Therefore, if you think a certain way, you're going to take certain actions. And if you feel fearful, you're not going to take the right actions that moves you away from the current life that you're not really enjoying, the business that you don't really love, that you're just kind of tolerating. So you really have to sit and reflect and have some introspection about what you're thinking, how it's making you feel, and then empowering yourself to feel differently by choosing a different way to think about it. Your thoughts will determine the next step you take, or actually it's your beliefs that generate your thoughts that would then create the next action step to take or not to take. So if your beliefs sit in patients will never pay me, your thoughts are then, I don't think I want to do this, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to fail, right? And then your next step is what? You're going to stay the same. You're not going to take action to do something different. You're not going to accept that there are people out there already paying out of pocket for medical services. You're going to stay back to where you are. And 1 year from now, you're going to reflect back and realize you're in the exact same place as you were a year prior because you didn't take that uncomfortable next step because you simply didn't believe it was possible. Therefore, you didn't take the action that would move you towards what you really, really wanted. So become curious about your thoughts. Number 4, find new evidence for that new thought. So if the cup is half empty, well, it's also half full. So two things can be true at the same time. People will want to use their insurance, and they will also pay cash. We see it every single day. Even in your current practice right now, it's happening. Patients have a huge deductible. They're paying for a premium. They're paying for a copay. They're paying to fulfill their deductible before any of the benefits kick in. They're paying. It's just not funneling to you. It's funneling to corporate medicine. So people who have insurance are actually paying more for medical care. They just don't know it because Everyone's consumed with the idea, with the thought, with the belief that insurance is supposed to pay for things. And we're seeing this getting worse with time. People are having to pay more for their premium. They're paying more into their deductibles. And the value that they get in return, well, patients are spending maybe 7 minutes with their doctors. And now doctors are getting crammed for even less time because the payout, they don't want to pay doctors out, frankly. That's what it is. They're going to make it more difficult for doctors to get paid. They're going to retroactively take your money back for something that they did pay. They say that they'll pay for something and they're like, just kidding, now you owe us money. It's this convoluted game that doesn't make any sense, and they do it intentionally to confuse everybody. So you really have to find your way out by creating new thoughts, by finding the evidence of what you want to be true and what you really want to believe in. So if you really want to believe that people will pay for your medical services, then let me tell you, I have a list of guests on this podcast who have already said that they do have patients paying them cash. I myself am here telling you that they pay me cash every day I'm in clinic. All the time, every single time, every transaction, they're paying me. And they continue to see me. Even though they have choices, even though they have insurance, they're still choosing to see me. I have now shown you evidence that there are people who are willing to pay out of pocket for medical services. Now you have to find that evidence for yourself so that you can start creating those new beliefs, those new thoughts that can help you move a little bit further into your direct care path. And then number 5, which I really want to focus the most on, is this: finding a new circle that cultivates this life, this new belief that you truly want to have. Whether you're choosing books, podcasts, social circles, business meetups, you really need to get resourceful and find your way out of the weeds of where you currently are. And where a lot of us kind of start in our practice journey is we're surrounded by people who say the exact same things we're thinking, that there's no way people would pay out of pocket for medical services. And if you go to Google, and you can Google this yourself to find out, you go and type in how many people are paying out of pocket for medical care, you're going to find that the number is like $30 billion or something. And it's not just medical care, it's alternative care too, because the current system of healthcare is not really helping everybody, and it's not really designed to do that. So it's up to you to get resourceful and to start thinking outside of the box as to how you can help your patients get better with longer lasting treatment plans other than those 7-minute interactions that's typical of insurance, where you prescribe a medication and then you move on to the next patient and the next, and then 30 times later, 50 times later, you wake up and do it all over again the next day, and then now you have to complete your charting and go through your quota and so on. To me, just speaking about the insurance model becomes exhausting because I used to be there, and it's something that I walked away from. So not only do we have to see a lot of people, this is a volume-based type of practice, we have to accommodate for that volume in the way of paperwork, in the way of frustration, in the way of our overhead. You can continue to believe that insurance is the only way. I'm not saying you can't believe that. I'm saying that's what a lot of us do believe. But what I'm saying is, if this lifestyle isn't serving you, you're not happy, you're burning out, you're thinking about leaving medicine, there's another door. There's another opportunity that you can grab onto if you really wanted to. And I wanted to share with you that the magic that I discovered in direct care is really to develop these skills that I set here, the 5 steps that it takes for you to create a new belief. It's something that you can apply in all aspects of your life, not just your business. If you find yourself in a negative situation or a negative thought pattern, take these 5 steps and repeat it. Recognize that you can choose a different way to believe, knowing that you have to actively choose to exercise this new way of being and believing and thinking. Becoming curious about the current thoughts that are not serving you. Like, why do you think that? Where did it come from? Is it helping me? How does it make me feel? Finding new evidence for that new thought. Are people paying out of pocket? How are they making it happen? I wonder what's going on over there. And then surrounding yourself with the circle that really is already living it. And they're just going to show you the pathway, the easier pathway to get there. And just repeat over and over again these 5 very simple steps that really can just take 5 minutes for you to do. But the trick is you have to push yourself to think that way. And I know sometimes it might be hard to course correct, but it is essential if you really want to live a different way. You have to think differently. So going through this change myself has been an incredible journey where I continue to apply this to other parts of my life. I now realize that I can absolutely manifest the life that I want as long as I'm willing to work at it, as long as I'm willing to correct my thoughts that were in the default setting and sometimes reinforced by my company. And if my company is reinforcing a negative thought I don't really like, I get new company. I still face negative, intrusive thoughts from time to time, but now I know I can choose how I feel about it and how I interpret it. So I'm actively choosing another narrative, one that makes me feel really good, and maybe even delusional, and I think that's okay. The most successful people are delusional, right? That's how they are able to make things happen. They don't let their thoughts get in the way of what they need to achieve or what they're aiming to pursue, and you can do that too. So by choosing another narrative, I really hope to help you and others see there is another door. It just might take a little bit more of a nudge for you to open it up and see what's possible. I hope you find a small gift within this episode and that it makes you feel empowered to live a happier, more joyful life, going on your way to creating a business that you love, which will then translate into a life that you truly feel fulfilled in. But it's like a muscle. You have to keep working at it until this new nerve pathway is developed, and then that becomes your new default state. So what's the magic in direct care? You become the version that makes it happen. When the old way isn't working, you evolve. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for being here. I'll catch you next week. Take care. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a review and share it with a friend so more doctors can learn about direct care. Let's keep the conversation going on LinkedIn so we can help more doctors escape insurance and thrive in private practice. Thanks for listening. I'll talk with you next time. Take care.